Called the Mafia boss by mistake during labor, he arrived with 50 black SUVs. Rhema lived in a drafty apartment where the heaters groaned but never delivered. She was 9 months pregnant, abandoned by a shadow named Marcus, and entirely alone. When the first sharp contraction hit, a jagged silver knife that made her knees buckle, she reached for her cheap burner phone. Through a fog of sweat and blinding pain, she dialed the hospital's emergency line. Or she thought she did. "Speak," a voice answered. It wasn't a tired operator. It was a sound like velvet dragged over gravel, deep, cold, and dangerously calm. "Please," Rhema gasped, her voice breaking as another wave of pain crashed over her. "I'm alone. The baby is coming. Everything is cold. Please help me." There was a heavy silence. On the other side of the city, in a penthouse of glass and steel, Kaelen, the most feared syndicate boss in the city, gripped his phone. He had no heart, only business. Yet, the raw frequency of her terror pierced his armor. "Where are you?" Kaelen commanded. Rhema whispered her address before the phone slipped from her hand. Kaelen looked at his men. "Cancel the meeting," he snapped. His second-in-command, Jackson, blinked in shock. "Sir, the shipment is worth millions." "The shipment can wait," Kaelen said, donning his wool coat. "A life cannot." The convoy of 50. Rhema was crawling across the cold linoleum when she heard it, a low rumble that shook the water in her glass. Suddenly, her dark street was flooded with the piercing white light of 100 headlamps. 50 black SUVs roared to a halt, engines growling like wolves. Dozens of doors slammed in unison, a sound like a firing squad. Heavy boots sprinted up the stairs. Her door didn't just open, it was nearly taken off its hinges. Kaelen stepped in. He was tall, dressed in a suit that cost more than her life. He knelt beside her, heedless of the dust on his expensive trousers. "I am here," he said. He lifted her as if she weighed nothing. Rhema clutched his lapel, smelling expensive tobacco and winter air. "Don't let me go," she whimpered. Kaelen's dark eyes intensified. "No one is letting you go. Not tonight. Not ever." The hospital siege. The convoy tore through the city, ignoring red lights and forcing every other vehicle off the road. Inside the lead SUV, Rhema's fingernails dug into Kaelen's hand, drawing blood. Kaelen didn't flinch. He watched the red droplets and felt a strange clarity. For years, he'd used his hands to take; tonight, he would use them to save. At the hospital, Kaelen ignored the gurney and carried her straight to the delivery room. When the doctor tried to protest that he wasn't family, Kaelen's shadow loomed over him. "Tonight, I am the only family she has. Do your job, or I'll find someone who can." For 4 hours, the Mafia boss was a silent pillar. When Rhema sobbed that she was too tired to continue, Kaelen leaned into her ear. "Listen to me. You fought every day just to survive. This is just one more fight. And this time, you aren't fighting alone. Look at me." She saw the sheer belief in his gaze. With a final scream, her son was born. "His name is Fazli," Rhema whispered later, looking at the man who saved her. "It means grace. But tonight, it means survivor. The golden cage and the traitor's price." A week later, Rhema was living in a palace-like apartment filled with silk and organic milk. Kaelen visited every evening, bringing books and toys instead of gold. But the peace was a lie. The first warning was a brick through the window: "The wolf is soft. The girl will pay." Kaelen moved her to his mountain estate, a fortress of stone. But the enemy, a rival named Silas, used old mining tunnels to bypass the gates. Alarms wailed in the middle of the night. Jackson ushered Rhema and the crying baby into the freezing woods as the estate behind them burst into flames. Shadows moved between the trees. 3 men with glinting knives stepped into the moonlight. "Give us the boy," they demanded. Rhema stood in front of the wounded Jackson, her voice like a queen's. You will have to kill me first. A muffled crack echoed. The lead hunter fell. Kaelen emerged from the darkness, splattered with blood, looking like a demon of vengeance. Within minutes, the attackers were neutralized. Kaelen ran to Rhema, his hands shaking. I'm sorry, he choked out. I should have protected you better. The impossible choice. Kaelen realized that as long as he stayed in the shadows, Rhema was a target. He called a meeting of the High Council. The most powerful men in the underworld expected him to claim victory. Instead, Kaelen placed his obsidian wolf ring on the table. I am done, he said. I have found something more valuable than fear. I am leaving the city. My assets are yours, provided you never seek me out. He walked away from his empire without a backward glance. He went to Rhema, not with a convoy, but with a suitcase. I've given it all up. He told her. I want to go with you. To the red dust and the gold sun. I want Fazli to grow up where people smile because they are happy, not because they are afraid. The ending. They settled in a small village near the coast of Ghana. The man who once commanded thousands now fished with local men and helped build a clinic with his remaining, quiet, money. Years later, sitting on the porch as the sun turned the sky to gold, Rhema asked if he missed the power. Kaelen took her hand, his grip still firm. I have more power here than I ever did there. I have the power to make you laugh. I have the power to sleep in peace. He looked at the burner phone he kept in a wooden box, the mistake that was actually a miracle. That night, Rhema, I thought I was saving you. But the truth is, you were the one who saved me.